up against RSG. Now RSG, depending on this last pick, this Nathan could go into the jungle, it could go into the gold lane, but I prefer the gold lane.
Prey everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a Yuzong coming from the side of RSG. I think Yuzong is a very decent pick. Yuzong is just one of those heroes where you either do really well or you just completely get stomped over. And this Yuzong pick I think is decent because of the lane matchup that he's going up against. In this case, he is going up against probably the Lapu Lapu. So I think he will do well, whether or not it's Lapu Lapu or Uranus, it doesn't matter. He will do well against those two because he has sustain, he has knockup, and he's not going to be that squishy side laner once he hits the level 4.
Yeah, and of course the level 4 ganks, right? You can dive into the back line of EVOS, right? And I feel like the draft looks kind of bleak as compared to RSG. RSG, I feel like they have the best draft going in, but let's take a look at their execution and we hop into the land of dawn. This is game number 1 of the El Clasico. EVOS versus RSG. These two teams go head to head, lock their horns before. EVOS, the defending champion, they picked one game. They lost one game against Impunity, one of the dark horses. They need to prove themselves, and the stress is on.
JPL being that harasser in some sense against Lozi. I think it's going to be pretty much a draw lane. But both teams playing back to that marksman jungle. That's what they're comfortable on. That's what they've been running the entire season. And you know, if the record fixed and there is no big changes, I think EVOS will prevail. But at the same time, RSG being very aggressive in this jungle.
Oh, that arrow! I think it connected on top of the creep before it actually hits Potato. So a very nice way of actually making sure the creep is there to body block for the arrow. But here we go. Lozi actually catches out JPL this time around. JPL looking very low, but no first blood coming out. Burn the flicker for all of us, especially those who's putting the hashtag first blood going over to RSG, keeping EVOS' first blood alive.
So if I had the flame shot, that would have been first blood. But because he went for the flicker, unfortunately, it wasn't available there. But RSG doing very well with the early invade. That being said, not much deficit on EVOS to really make an impact with that early game progression. So about making sure that LY4 on this front does well. But top lane, we are going to see a bit of pressure on the Uranus. I think in terms of lane matchup, both teams are very even. Lapu Lapu and Better are just going to constantly cut each other's waves. So the pressure, or rather the focus of the game, then puts in the middle.
Yeah, and not only just the middle lane, right? It's also on top of the jungle. But here may find himself in a pickle right now. The Electro or Baby Case will be used here, trying to look for more. The Bravest Warrior coming in. LIO5 force the flicker as well. The arrow will connect on top of JPL, but I think that's success because EVOS will be able to control the turtle pit for now. Lozi will be able to scout it out. Sayla in the area as well. JPL, but Lozi pushes JPL away. The dash of that will allow him to kind of reset for now. But LY4 coming in from the sidelines. All eyes on that turtle looking very low. Potato will be able to retribute that turtle and walk away.
It's just a case of EVOS making sure that Granger, as a faster farmer in some sense compared to a Nathan, he's gonna have a better early game. So EVOS is just trying to bully RSG with the fact that they have this Granger, and Granger being one of Potato's signature heroes, he looks a lot more comfortable, at least more than the boxer.
Yeah.
Sorry, just this game. So EVOS now with Potato slightly, I would say he's slightly more online. EVOS now should look for a fight.
Yep, and there we go. Baby Case coming in for the flank as well. We'll be able to catch up here, but it's going to be first blood from the side of RSG. Picking that up. Sayla coming in, following up. Will be slow speed that will go down, but Baby Case looking for more. Showing gear that he is the better player. Will be able to get away with one pixel of health as Selena come back in for the re-engage. Catches Potato out of position.
Red team hero has been slain.
505 making the plays there. The Vessel Arrow landing twice on the Potato, and that's going to deny him the kill. RSG more goodies as they find a kill onto the top lane, or rather the other way around, with Uranus finding the kill, Adamir picking up the kill onto the Yuzong. I have concerns for this Yuzong because, like I said, I think as much as he is a hard side laner to kill, it's either he does well or he's just going to get completely bullied by, and the fact that now Adamir is doing pretty decently on the side lane, RSG might struggle on that, so they want to focus a bit more on supporting that Yuzong. If not, he's going to have zero impact coming into game 1.
Yeah, but going into slightly in the mid game, gold looking side on the same side, and it's like, even though EVOS is the one that secured the turtle, but okay, I think Sayla will be able to get on away safely, no problems at that, gonna flash the emote. What do you think is RSG plan? Because EVOS, they are trying to delay LY4, but what is RSG trying to achieve?
For RSG, it's just really simple, right? In fact, for both teams, they're doing the same thing. It's all about making sure that side lane gets pushed up. We already see EVOS do that on the top side. That's going to give a bit more priority to the jungle. And if they can secure this jungle before EVOS comes down, they might have a good team fight.
Yeah, Lozi coming here, but here comes Jason as well. The big back dragon will be able to push this around. The real world manipulation will be set out. The boss, but denied. Potato gets all the way out. Adamir is the only one left. RSG pick walk away with 4 men down from the side of EVOS.
RSG doing a fantastic, completely fantastic rotation there. The E-Zone comes down. That is the rotation he needed, and now he comes back into this game. More importantly, RSG will also secure the tier 1 in the middle, so that puts a lot more pressure now onto EVOS. With the map being cracked open down the mid, RSG will have a lot more rotations down the side. And we can see here, Jason coming in with the Black Dragon form. He goes with the Furious Dive, he knocks up the Eve, and that is the reason why Eve, as much as she is slightly buff in terms of her stack, but the fact now that she can be interrupted when she uses the real world manipulation then poses a big question to a lot of these mid players.
Oh, fine. He lands the arrow on top, but here goes JPL, kicks Lozi away, hands off my potato, he screams, and that Sonata will be able to connect, but here comes Jason with the spin, will be able to push JPL away for now, but you said that right, EVOS, they want to focus on the side lane. RSG picking up that turtle has allowed them to scale in terms of the gold lead. I think EVOS, the longer they hold on, I fear LY4's Nathan will come online.
Yeah, I do fear that as well. And more importantly, Baby Cake on this Benedetta, 5-0-1. He is doing so well, and they probably won't get the kill off here, but the next wave will definitely secure them the kill 1.
Yeah, JPL coming in for the scout as well, but it's 4 men against JPL, 4 men against, well, the Implosion Flicker goes in, will be able to catch JPL alongside as well. Sayla looking for a reload, will force the Flicker out of it. The arrow doesn't connect, but here comes the box as well, but this time around the Eve, the real world manipulation doesn't really connect as much as the members of RSG will be able to collapse on top of EVOS. Adamir and Gale, left and right, sorry, correction, Gale falls in that team fight.
Lozi just creating so much space with this Tigro. The flicker into the implosion gets not only 1 but 2 members of EVOS. They take down Eve, or rather they force Eve in a bad spot. Baby Cake on this Benedetta is just so easy for this Benedetta to kite, Sayla because of the mobility, and it just doesn't help EVOS that Potato is already down. Without Potato, they really lack this bulk of the damage that they're hoping that the Grandeur can put out.
Yeah, 7-0-2 is the score for Baby Cakes. The turtle will be secured by the side of RSG once again. EVOS will find themselves in the same position as yesterday. They had the early game. They should be able to pop it off with Potato, but Potato feeling a little bit distracted right now. 0-3-1 is his score. LY4 is starting to prop. Baby Cakes, is the bridge between the early to mid game, so that LY4 will be able to shine in the late game. EVOS, I think they have to start focusing on the turrets right now. If not, I fear for the worst.
Yes, and you do have a bit of a sense that RSG here does have the advantage because they are already making quick work of the tier 2, but EVOS is only starting on that tier 2 at the bottom lane. And the fact that now Nathan is online, I have the same consensus as you. I'm starting to fear the worst for EVOS.
Yeah, man, it's just something of, it could be, this game could be the mark of the downfall of our fan favorites, ladies and gentlemen, because Lozi playing out my JPL coming in. Oh, they're missing the stun, will not be able to connect. Adamir coming in with the Ionic Blades will not be able to catch anything away because 2 of the biggest damage dealers are not doing well in the game. They are unable to bust anyone down from the side of RSG. Lozi setting it up. Baby Cake gets run off the front.
Yeah, for EVOS and RSG, like I said, the gameplay, or rather the game plan is very similar. It's all about making sure that they can zone the side lanes out and take away these huge objectives in terms of turrets or the turtle or the lord. And in this case, RSG just doing a slightly better job because of the Tigro. The Tigro provides a lot more AoEs compared to JPL's Cho, where it's a single target focus.
But oh my goodness, JPL
Team hero has been
immediately
slain.
deleted from the collective joint combined effort of RSG. Gone is this tank, Potato, and Sailor cowering in fear in its own turret. RSG should have all the time in the world for the Lord, but take a look. Adamir at back end cutting his wave. Is this the combat mechanic that EVOS needs in order to actually pick up this game?
Well, RSG, they don't really care about the lead because all they need to do is make sure that the Nathan isn't touched. And LY4, yes, he doesn't have the most amount of kills, he hasn't really made the biggest plays, but he's playing on the Nathan, he doesn't need to do that. All he needs is drop the entropy underneath the turret. He doesn't need to poke heroes, all he needs to do is just take objectives. You know, you have a really good frontliner in front of you in the form of a Tigro. He's not touched at all. Jason can then, you know, dive into the back line whenever Sayla uses the real world manipulation. And even now, look at that, he's just walking in the jungle. Our EVOS doesn't even have an answer to the bandit. There's just so many issues that EVOS can't deal with RSG drop.
Yeah, as we brace for impact for the side EVOS, Lord marching down on the top side, Adam is still out of position. It is going to be a 5-man on top of this for the side turret, and here we go, Baby Cakes setting up the Electro, they dive in and then dive it out. Jason just flies all the way in. They push the members of EVOS all the way up as LY4 just wrecking havoc on the side of EVOS. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, EVOS are shaking.
Well, RSG taking the tier 3 at the top lane can now look to put more pressure onto the bottom side. A lot of the fights now, you're starting to see a pattern occur. They can't touch the Nathan. They have no access to the back line. Because of that, RSG can just free up to take the turrets. You've seen them take the tier 3 at the top. Yes, they were near to dropping down, but they've already gotten JPL down. The gear doesn't even have an opportunity to get a group routine fight. The moment the real world manipulation gets popped by Sayla, you have so many access coming up for RSG. You have the Tigro on the implosion. You have the Furious dive bomb coming up for Jason on the E-zone. There's just so many hits to stop this.
Yes, and Adamir coming in, JPL, I think he's not a really good tank this time round, as Baby Cake is wrecking havoc, trying to catch Potato at the same time. The members of RSG is here, just testing this orange buff away from EVOS, as Adamir, I think he's going to get collapsed, but the concentration will help EVOS. The game plan is, I think it's spelling errors. JPL unable to catch that pick off, playing a very back-footed Cho instead of the very aggressive Cho that we know from JPL.
Yeah, I think the JPL, I mean, the Cho pick is fine. Honestly, it is fine. But you look at the side of RSG, there's just too many heroes that JPL has to handle on.
Yep.
You can only use Way of the Dragon on one hero. You kick away the Tigro, there's the E-zone there.
Yep.
There is still the Selena. On top of it, you have, you know, this Benedetta that's pretty much free to just roam around. There's just so many heroes that they can dive on your backline. And then look at that, once again, Baby Cakes, he doesn't even care. No respect going in.
Yeah, no respect indeed, and here comes Baby Cakes, and will be able to find, but he's also swooping low. But here comes Jason, the big back dragon. He's hungry, he's looking for Potato, for food, making french fries out of him. But Potato will be able to dodge all the way back up. RSG, they take Adamir down. Remember, Adamir is the only one that can possibly tank against the damage of RSG that's outputting. I don't think anyone from the side of EVOS will be able to hold on to RSG's damage.
And once Lozzy gets the Twilight armor, you know, the shots coming from Potato will not even matter. And JPL, he cannot afford to go down here because the Lord, rather, is coming up in 30 seconds. I think EVOS, even with a 5-man stack here, they're going to have a lot of issues breaking into RSG's draft because it seems like a death ball threat, right? You have the Tigro at the front line, you have Jason that's going to be able to just stun you up with Furious Dive, you have Iron 5 that's constantly stunning you with the Abyssal Arrow. I think the only way that EVOS can have a way back into this game is hopefully through the split push, which is what they're doing now. They are hoping that Adamir can drag this game up and drag RSG away from all these huge objectives.
Yeah, I think that's the game plan right now, but you sacrifice, you know, Eric, you sacrifice Adamir all the way up top there, right? There's no one that can actually hold the ground in terms of the damage. But here we go. You can see how RSG is spreading it out. They notice the game plan of EVOS, they're splitting it up, like how JPL is also creating buying a lot, as much time as possible in the enemy jungle, whereas EVOS, the three of them, Sayla, Here, and Potato are doing God duty as well.
JPL doing a very good job at disrupting there. I think they might be able to get the pick up on Cho. He's just just dived a little bit too deep there. A little bit of a mistake coming from JPL, mispositioning wise, and I think this is just no way that EVOS can contest on this ball. They have to give it away. The best that EVOS can do, like I said, is just try to clear the back wave, cut the lane, delay the push from the RSG. And for RSG, they don't really care. They have Invitational that can do the same as I think that Adam is doing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting sick vibes coming out, right? Like
Flashbacks.
flashbacks. Oh my god. Deja vu coming in, but here we go. RSG will respond. Anime looking very low. Popping the consecration will be able to bucket all the way down. But oh my goodness, there is the Holy Crystal going into the pockets of Fire and the BOD for good measure. I think, whenever you see that, you're just like, oh, RSG so ahead.
I would say that RSG should be playing a lot cleaner. They are doing a good job at commanding this game, but you see them getting distracted a lot of the time by Uranus, which is a problem in its own, but the fact that now they have the lot, I think they need to think the waves a lot better. EVOS does have a very good chance of defending this if they can take away the wave at the bot lane, but the fact that there's a lot pushing top.
Yep. And this could be the GG push, ladies and gentlemen. Potato having a little trouble, but here comes Baby with the Electro. Talon dropping the World War manipulation, but it's taking a bit of hitting. One clash, two clash, but the members of RSG, they're going to focus on the core instead as GG. Game 1 goes over to RSG.
Oh, tough game for EVOS there. I did speak about how RSG could have the better game management, but I guess a lot.
Balearic being drafted from the side of RSG.
Yeah, they're going to push the Camellia to the side lane. So that is going to be the Balearic in the tank role. It could go vice versa. Balearic in the side lane to deal with the Phobius does make sense at the same time. So it really depends on how they want to play. I think it's more likely that it's going to be a Balearic in the side lane. I think it's going to be a Camellia tank just because Balearic won't have the issue of being ganked early game. He is a lot tankier than the Camellia. The fact that he doesn't really need too much support in side lanes means that he doesn't get bullied. So I do see the Balearic going off to the off lane while the Camellia serves as a tank. But either way, that's the draft. We're going to see how well EVOS can bounce back after having a bad game 1. Jace, take it away.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on to game number 2. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is match point for RSG. They would want to join in the ranks of impunity, the ones who have taken down the biggest boys, the biggest people in MPL Singapore. The defending champion of Season 1, looking very weak, showing chinks in the armor, showing their soft spots already. They need this game to regain this momentum, and that hopefully their coach, Daryl, will be able to give them the pep talk they need.
This time out with the E-Zone in EVOS hands, they do have a few mechanisms that can stop this Eve, but right off the bat, we do see EVOS putting a lot of pressure onto this Balearic, sending him back home, and that's because we have JPL, the flame shot once again coming out from Adamir, just to delay more pressure second from making sure that this Balearic is under pressure.
Yeah, Jason going in with the Balearic side lane, I think that's something of an eye-opener for me. Preferably, I would prefer the Miller going into side lane because you get decent wave clear, but I feel like the engage, the gank that you can have with Lozi on the Camilla is a lot better as compared to the
Not
Balearic.
really. The Balearic actually clears the lane faster than the Camellia. Unknown to a lot of people, you first kill, you land your second with the basic attack hit, and you clear that wave. So that is the reason why Balearic is on side lane. And on top of that, Balearic is way tankier. He is the highest base HP out of any tanks in the current hero pool. So it's a lot harder for EVOS to actually gank the Balearic as compared to the Camellia.
Yeah, this time Potato is in the area. Bit of a Shah residue will be able to score back here, but the members of RSG is already lying in the way. Potato and here, I don't think they know about it. They're going to start this turtle right on away. JPL also in the area, but here we go. Here coming in. Baby Cakes will be able to bounce all the way back. Good disengage coming up from both sides, but it is Lozi chasing in on JPL. This is the calm before the storm.
JPL diving in, the Black Dragon God comes up from here, diving in for LY4. He doesn't really have the protection, but Lozi is going to come out. The real world manipulation gets popped as well. Doesn't really have support from the rest of teammates, but here comes the rest of RSG. Lozi getting covered upon JPL with the dash. drags Sailor alongside him. The duck cutting form will get them 1 kill. And Potato, as much as he wants to dive into 505, here comes Jason coming in from the back. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but the last instead he gets popped by Baby Kicks, pops the flicker. But Sailor will be able to pop a flicker of his own, and EVOS, they counting themselves a bit lucky after that tough start.
Yeah, very lucky, right? Everything could have gone very worse. RSG have a title shift as compared to EVOS. Now EVOS just shoveling the water out of their sinking boats. They're putting in some pressure. They are able to get the Lozy and also the Turtle. So at least in terms of the goal lead, it's going to go in a better start.
I think the fact that a lot of the heroes now are slightly more mobile as compared to Game 1 gives EVOS a bit more freedom in rotation, which is why they look a lot more comfortable. With respect to RSG, they have a game plan there. It's all about making sure that LY4 has a good game similar to how EVOS wanted. So I think the focus for RSG is to make sure that they don't take too many fights early game, and more importantly, not allow Potato on this Roger to snowball, because we know how Roger performs. Roger, once he gets that first few kills going in, his skills way out of control, and it's very tough to stop a Roger that's well farmed.
Yeah, but I mean, Eris, you mentioned that RSG doesn't want to commit with this early fights, but LY4 is the Grandeur, has a power spike in the early game as well. But I feel like EVOS does have the answer to counteract LY4's Grandeur, right? Is that the reason why you feel that RSG doesn't really want these two fights?
It's tough to say because they're not exactly finding the opening that they need. Look at that, even before the fight happens, JPL with the Soul Bloom, even as a tank, it's really able to bring 505 down to half HP. It's just the reason why I think if they want to fight for a fight, they need Jason to be part of it. They need the Bellaric to serve as the front line. If not, they don't really have the clearance they need. Look at that! 505 just gets evaporated by JPL alone.
Yep, hold on a second, Sailor. Oh, the lightning form, the ultimate will be able to take it off. But here comes Baby King with the last insanity, assassinates Sailor in the back line. Here, pushing closely all the way up, but LY4 picks JPL up, and he's going for more. He's looking for Gear. Gear pops the big dragon form, and here comes the anime as well with the Morpheus ultimate. Actually, finally picks LY4 up. We talk about the momentum. Is this the momentum that EVOS needs?
A little bit of a bad trade for both ends, but RSG taking a bit of that bruise given the fact that LY4 actually went down. I think Sailor could have escaped a little bit if he actually used the flicker there. He had the flicker off cooldown, so that was definitely an option, but I think he underestimated the range of the last insanity. He maybe felt like the range could have been out, which is one of the tricky things about the Bumblebee skin.
Yes.
I love the skin, it looks really cool, but I think even to the professional players and the more experienced ones, sometimes it's hard to gauge the AoE of the last insanity just because of the particle effect.
Yeah, Eris, I think what they need to do, right, hold on a second, JPL will be able to find things right here, the last insanity going in, will pop at the same time, but Edinburgh coming in, here comes the Clean Eagle. A lot of commitment going all the way down. JPL will take a few turret shots for his damage as well, but upside, RSG picking up the turret of EVOS will be able to put it down with the help of LY4. They take it and they're going away.
Yeah, Jason serving as a Suzo tank alongside Lossie of the Vanilla. This is Scarlet Petals to make sure that the members of EVOS can stick too close. And I think the meta is just fixed in this way. It's all about making sure the side lanes get pushed out as much as possible. So the mid lane rotation just matters so much more now as compared to the previous patches. And this is what we are saying RSG capitalize on. Even though they are losing fights, even though they are behind in farm, the fact that they can rotate faster with the help of the Grandeur as compared to how EVOS used the Grandeur in the earlier game just makes it so much easier for them to fight.
Yeah, I don't think this is a very good position. It's suicidal jump right into the loving hand, snapping jaw of RSG, giving it away for absolutely free. And now the turtle is up. RSG, they have the manpower lead. I think it's Potato. They're just going to give it up. They're going to rotate up the top side. And Eris, it's like what you said, right? Like, early game fights, RSG is not going to handshake this, but I think Sailor is the one that needs to set it up. You snipe down 505, and that's probably the only way that EVOS could
Red team turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, either that or JPL finds
Blue
good
team
pickup
turret has
onto
been
the Grandeur,
destroyed.
which it's going to be tough because LY4's positioning has been perfect throughout this game. Right? Other than the one time that he was caught in his own jungle, because it was a full dive coming from EVOS, LY4's positioning has been good. And we're going to see a classic trade-off for these two teams. You can take the tier 2s on the opposite side. I think RSG
Blue team
slightly
turret
in a
has
better
been
control
destroyed.
just because they have the control of the turtle speed. But EVOS is on tag.
But okay, Potato will get caught out. Take the one touch, the Lycan Pounds will be able, but here comes the final fight. The real world manipulation gear hunting for the Eve will be able to deny it. Just one touch, but here looking very low at the same time. Plain shot coming in, but Edinburgh goes in dive. The member of RSG, they're looking injured, but they pick up Potato for the time being. Is there any form of secondary re-engage coming up from EVOS as they siege up RSG's mid lane turret?
That mid lane is going to fall soon later. Someone's going to get the backdoor hit. But the reason why I also said that RSG had a better fight is because Eve was pretty much untouched through the fight. By the time, Gear wants to go in, it's already too late. Potato was kind of sandwiched in between. You don't really have someone that can set up Potato in this case. JPL, as much as he is a tank Matilda, is not someone that can initiate a fight. They don't have the AoE that they're looking for. A lot of their heroes are single focused other than the Yuzong and the Phobias, who need setup themselves.
Yeah, as RSG will lose this turret after one love tap from the side of EVOS and Eris. As comparing A1, A2 and 505's Eve, I don't see what you said on Team Flash, right? The Eve doesn't really zone the members of RSG, EVOS all the way out, but they're meant to actually do damage. I think that's the mindset of 505 going into this fight.
I think more importantly, RSG does have a very tanky front line, and that's what they like to play, right? Tanky front lines, even going to the Camilla, he's backed up by Jason, so it's not like this Camilla is soaking the damage all by himself.
Okay, Adamir, he got the movement, but he's not gonna commit. I think it's slow and steady that wins the race. EVOS, yes, they're bearing some fangs a little bit, but they're gonna make Kitty Cat small little kitten stats into victory, but the gold lead is looking neck to neck. Eris, what do you think?
I don't think either of these teams will come into a fight right now. It's a bit too close. So it's about who makes the first misstep, and it does seem as much as EVOS wants to take the fight here. Once again, I still favor RSG's position because if the Xbox can find a good entry in, if he can find Potato in a bad spot, EVOS will be in a lot of deep trouble if that Roger goes down just like the previous team fight.
Yeah, it's like you said. I think once EVOS scout out, Baby Cakes is actually coming in for the flank. Potato just decides to bump now. They're not going to handshake anything. Same as RSG. They're not going to commit into anything. If you notice how EVOS, right? They're very dive heavy hero. One single mistake, this step, that will be the national diving unit that's coming out from EVOS. But is RSG able to find any non-committal engages that we see, like the likes of Jawhead or the likes of any way that RSG can engage?
But they do have the Valoric, and they also have the start coming with Loyalty. You can see him already trying to put pressure on the JPL, and the fact that JPL is not a hard tank does give RSG a way into this fight, which is why I favor RSG's draft slightly better. They have better front lines, they have hard-hitting back line that is not easily diveable, and Potato is subject to a lot of the CC's output by RSG. So the win condition for RSG is slightly easier to achieve as compared to EVOS side. And EVOS, I think they are doing a good job. They know they can't really clash head-on because of the lack of CC as compared to what RSG can put on the table. And it's all about split pushes, about tearing RSG's draft apart. As long as they can keep Xbox or Valorant out of the fight, they will be able to do well.
Oh, but speaking about Xbox, Baby Cakes will take some trouble right there. I believe no Blast Insanity was not proc, but it's a 4-man on top of JPL right now. LY4 with the Rhapsody. JPL goes in, you can see just juke it around, but oh, JPL, is that a mistake? But hold on, it's not a mistake. Here comes the members of EVOS. Here
505
as well. 505 looking very low at the same time. We'll be able to get pushed all the way up. Now, 505 did not proc the real world manipulation, while Gear, he's already used his ultimate.
And more importantly, 505 doesn't have the flicker for the next 120 seconds. That is a big deficit for RSG.
Oh, speaking of which, Edinburgh, he gets caught out. The Baby Cakes will be able to burn, and here comes the real world manipulation. EVOS, no! This is not the engage that you want to take as RSG collapse on top of EVOS. Two members go down
Roger.
the top and top side. Potato making the dream work. He managed to push down the top side, but here comes Jason as well. But the members of RSG, they don't really care. They take the Lord for themselves.
Iffy trade, I would say, for both sides, but EVOS is going to feel a lot better than RSG. It wasn't the best fight that EVOS was looking for, but they already made up their mind. They want to go for the split push. I think they have the lucky stars to count for. RSG did not reset the Lord, and because of that, it's going to be a Lord that's before the 12-minute mark. It's going to be easy for EVOS to take off. I think EVOS, they got out lucky there.
man, like EVOS, right? They need all the luck. Count the lucky stars, count all the eggs they can have in this basket. I have no idea why I'm talking about chickens and eggs. I'm probably feeling a bit hungry. I'm going to grab Subway later. But here we go. It's the bottom side. The Lord is marching all the way down. They got a Yeep that can zone this Lord all the way up. He's not going to crash, but I think RSG will make full use of it. Baby Cakes will be diving in with the last insanity. But here comes here! Coming in with the Dragon Storm as well. Trying to find the Yeep, but the Yeep gets out of Malaysia. But Lunox is the one that showed them who is fast. Will be able to pick up the double kill as the members of EVOS sweep RSG right off your lane. But they have the core! The Lord is following and EVOS make a huge U-turn, barely losing that call for themselves. Oh my goodness, how many stars do they have in their luck?
Woo! EVOS actually nearly loses the game there due a backdoor from the Lord. But they come back at the nick of time. RSG actually gotta be feeling a little bit too close for comfort there. And now EVOS actually can look to take the tier 3 in the middle. I don't think LY4 is gonna be able to pull all of this off despite his members coming back up. Potato is still gonna go ham here. They're gonna take the safe way out, just push out the waves. But that was definitely a fight that EVOS needed. Whether or not they lose the tier 3 at the bottom, they were just suffering so much of these team fights. I think RSG actually, they got a little bit greedy there and they got punished for it.
Okay, yeah, knocking all the way up, safety out, following her too. Potato is not in position. He's trying to go around, he's trying to find it, but it is going to be geared and sacrificed over to the gods of RSG. But lucky or not, I feel like the luck meter is going to be running low. EVOS, my god, I was dabbing my forehead when I was like, so tunnel vision alongside with EVOS as well, on top as them collapsing on top of RSG. EVOS, that core was dangerous.
RSG, they're smelling. They know that victory is close to them. They can take the team fight as long as they don't dive too deep. And this is what they're doing. They're gonna pop the real world manipulation. It's just as only two. They don't even need the damage from it. Every single time real world manipulation comes up, they will look to take a fight.
Yeah, Potatoes, okay, he smelled a little bit of blood right there. Finds Lozy well, will back off for safe. But I don't know, man, Aris. EVOS got out way too lucky right there at the bottom side. It's so close. And it's also a lot of tension coming in. But JPL, I think that's a bit of why they're even coming in. Potato a little bit too slow, but it's only 3 members. Yeah, activates the ultimate. I think it's a bit of trigger happy coming out from the side of EVOS. They're making a bit of mistakes, but here comes the bottom side. The big minions marching down, and EVOS, they need to defend right now. The core is looking half HP. They need to put someone right there on defense duty.
Well, that is always the threat when you lose that tier 3. The super minions pushing down on that lane, and now EVOS does have that headache. The RSG, they have slightly a tankier sideways, or rather side lanes, and because of that, the Xbox can always be left to guard duty while Jason playing on the Battlefield can always join the team fight. And just purely through the fact that they have better AoE damage coming out from the side of Eve and Granger is the reason why they can still take the fight 4-on-4. But EVOS actually, we've seen the threat coming out. We know that this Roger is farmed up. Potato is smelling blood. It's all about making sure that Potato is freed up to do damage and how much punishment JPL can take before he goes down.
Yeah, but this is a Matilda. It's not a very hard tank that JPL uses, but this time round, 16 minutes in the clock. The Lord has fallen, ladies and gentlemen. Lozy looking very low. Will take some punishment from the side of Potato, but to no avail. EVOS, they need to buy as much time as possible so that their core will be able to heal. They cannot afford to tunnel vision right now, ladies and gentlemen. It was so close. RSG is like seconds. No, take that as nanoseconds away from winning had EVOS not turned around.
JPL now taking a bit of harassment. I don't think they really want to commit to the fight here. They know Lord is around the corner. That's going to give Potato a bit of a time to stay push at the bot lane.
Oh, Potato, oh, JPL, Adamir is the one that actually got caught all the way up. And here it go. Benedict spreads the stun all over. You get a stun. Everyone gets a gun stun. Here, coming in, buying a bit of fight, but Potato come back in. And here he goes. The field that Potato absolutely needs. But here, he will be able to run. But not that, but Sailor will be able to pick up one member and giving Potato the double kill over to the side of EVOS. And now, it is now or never for EVOS to actually do some damage that they've been receiving for the past 17 minutes.
It's all down to Baby Cake at 505. Can they defend this? Something tells me they can't. You look at 505, he's really trying his best. The guiding wind into the circling eagle. He's gonna burn it immortality there, but that gives EVOS the space they need to push in. They're going to try to back this out as much as possible. The real world motivation comes in. Can they push the creeps off as fast as possible? I don't think they can. They're stoking this damage through. And EVOS actually beats all the odds to take game 2 to push this to a best of 3.
Yes, it's a victory to EVOS, but it is hurt to EVOS at the same time. There was RSG comes in with this double marksman pickup and also picking up that Ruby. So you got 2 pseudo tanks coming in, sorry, 1 pseudo tank and a tank coming up from RSG that should be able to hold down the fort. You've got Baby Cakes to spread havoc at the backline. But looking at EVOS's backline, who do you think like the Benedetta will be have to target? Will he target the Selena and then move on? I don't think Selena should be the key target.
I don't even think we should be looking at Benedetta as someone that's going to be participating in team fight. In fact, I think Benedetta's role for RSG is to just cut waves and put pressures onto the side lane. That is going to be a very pivotal role, especially for side of RSG, because in terms of team fight, EVOS just looks slightly stronger now. They have the Esmeralda, they have the Yuzong, they have this Link. These are heroes that can look to fight and they can fight really well. So the Benedetta's role is just to cut the wave and drag EVOS away from team fights.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, onto the land of dawn we go. A bit gloomier this time round. Both teams take a bit of a pause for now, but of course it's a 1-1. So there's also tension and stress on top of these two teams. Now, you mentioned that there's a lot of dive potential coming up from EVOS and RSG. They've got this big AoE wombo combo with the Ruby as long as for the right as well. You can imagine like a hook and an implosion and an electo. What else do you want to throw into the mix?
I don't think RSG will be looking for team fight. I keep going back to the fact because RSG, as much as they have wombo combo, these wombo combos are not the most reliant. It's going to rely a lot on individual plays to set those up. And yes, you can achieve that, but it's very tough. It's also very dependent on how your opponents react and how they're positioned. If EVOS position them well, if they just hug their turrets and are able to just hold off all of this invades coming from RSG, then you can't pull off the wombo combos no matter how well you try to set them up. So I think for RSG it's about split pushing the waves out, being a bit more aggressive and cutting the waves with the fact that they have the Benedetta, they have Ruby that can stay on the lane. So as long as they can do that and the fact that they have Nathan, they can push waves very quickly, they can take turrets very quickly. So those are the winning conditions for RSG. Whereas for EVOS, it's slightly different. We're looking to get linked to the late game. We're looking to fight really hard because we have this Esmeralda front line, we have this Yuzong, and it's a completely different play style compared to RSG.
Yeah, so alright, hold up. After the technical pause, we're back into the land of dawn once again. In the top side, it is going to be the Yuzong going up against Baby Cakes, but I mean with the Benedetta, I feel like Gear should have no problem with this, but I think Baby Cakes should listen like what you said, right? Try to cut away as quickly as possible to split push, to provide some pressure on the side lanes, but hold on a second. Here we go at the bottom side. Lozy as the Tigreal is actually invading the side of EVOS, but I think RSG has to be careful because they've got two people that could look to explode anyone up in the form of Selena, in the form of Mathilda.
Yeah, RSG just not really wanting to overcommit. It's just there to provide a bit of pressure, making sure that EVOS actually doesn't really scale control the lane. And I think this blue buff or the purple buff is going to be very, very hot spot for contention. Every single time the purple buff comes up, that's when RSG might just rub their chins and go, if we can take that purple buff away, that lane is going to be severely handicapped.
Yeah, and you mentioned about the link with the purple buff, right? Does that make EVOS, right, the pathing very, very easy to interpret? Because you see, once the purple buff is up, RSG just can hug that little buff right there and just like prevent Potato from picking up this purple buff.
Yeah, or they can even look to take objectives while the lane is using his purple. So there's a lot of ways they can do that. The fact that Lozy is playing on this Tigreal also makes it hard for EVOS to even gank.
Yeah, ooh, a bit of pressure happening at the top side as the turtle will spawn at the top side as well. LY4 rotating at the best place right now for making sure that Gear stays underneath the turret. But let's take a look at the level 4s once again. I think, yep, Baby Cake should have level 4 already, and that's a power spike for him. But the members of EVOS is looking to crash, looking to punish. It is JPL that will jump on top of Baby Cake, but Baby Cake's looking very low as well. LY4 landing down the paint. But here he goes. Temple of Blade will be used at the same time, but it's going to be LY4 picking up the first blood over to JPL. But hold on a second, on the side of the screen, 505 has to flicker all the way up because Adamant managed to catch in all the way up. But RSG, they're not letting out the pressure. They're going to punish EVOS' aggression, and they will pick up this turtle.
A little bit wasted for Jason there. Tried to use the armor fender, missed the hook. He did have the flicker, but I guess he didn't really want to burn it. 2 minutes, just too big of a cooldown. So he's going to save it for the next fight, which doesn't really matter because RSG not only did they get the first blood at the top, they also managed to pick up the turtle.
Yep.
And this is my concern for EVOS. They need to pop the late game off, and Ling needs time. Question is, will RSG give the time? Because from what we saw from Game 1 and Game 2, RSG, they know the win conditions, it's all about taking turrets, and if EVOS, they give too much space to RSG in the early game, RSG might snowball out of control like how we saw in Game 2.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing a lot of invades coming out from JPL this time round. You see, LI4 on the Natan needs a lot more farm as compared to Potato in my opinion, but Potato, I mean, at a later stage, are you more terrified of a Nathan at max level or a Ling at max level?
I would say a Ling is definitely a lot more devastating towards the late game because Ling is just being an assassin. The fact that he has high mobility, he can split push way quicker, come in turn, you know, the mobility. It's no question, you gotta be afraid of that Ling.
Yep, oh, Lozy proccing down the implosion, but here comes the one more combo. The Imperial Passion will be used for great success as well. Potato looking very low, will not be able to do the combo that he's need because LY4, he is coming in with this double kill, and Adamir noticing his members is down, he is running away. Look at the amount of poke coming up from LY4, he's hurting like a truck.
RSG doing a fantastic job at managing team fight. Yes, Lozy went down, but the implosion catches members of EVOS. They don't have a frontline that's ready to go right now. Remember, JPL, as much as he's playing a tank, it is a tank Matilda, so he's not that conventional tank. He doesn't have the sustain needed to soak up all the damage. All he can do is provide burst early game. But you want to compare burst, RSG, they're ready to go. They have the Beatrix, they have the Natan, they even have Baby Cakes, or don't even take Baby Cakes, they have this Ruby. They can match damage for damage when it comes to team fight.
Yeah, as RSG, they're probably setting it up for the total. You talk about matching the damage, right, Aris? It's both sides do have explosive damage, but RSG, judging from the gold lead, they should have this turtle coming up in their favor right now. And I think EVOS, is like what you said, they're not going to handshake any fights at all. They're looking for pick-off. JPL diving in right underneath the turret, but Baby Cake's looking very low, will get assassinated by JPL. But it is RSG that pick up the mid-lane turret. Adamir falls into the hand of 505. Ladies and gentlemen, Potato is hugging on top of this wall. It's like what you said. If Ling is focusing on the purple buff instead, there is no way that you can defend for the turrets. But here we go. Gear decides to jump all the way in. Will be able to die, but it's Potato that falls into the hand of Jason at the same time. Gear coming in, but he will get melted down by LY4. Looking very, very healthy. He is looking for more, but will not be able to connect as EVOS cowers back underneath the turrets.
505, he's gonna be tanking Jason there. Coming in with the Imo Fender at the very last second, allows the Beatrix to get out of there. And not only that, RSG, they got the Ling, and now the Ling doesn't have the purple buff for the next 2 minutes. It's going to be a big deficit, and this is one of the issues that Ling players always have to face. You don't have the blue buff, you kind of feel like you're fighting without your right arm because he's not going to have the energy. Look at that there. I don't even think they will be able to get Jason. He's just going to use the Imo Fender, just hook back, hard through his turret, and the fact that EVOS has 3 members down there means RSG can look to push the top uncontested.
Yeah, RSG with double marksman this time around. There's a lot of push power. Look at the punishment that the turret takes. It's melted all the way down. Sayla is not connecting in any form of the abyssal arrow. JPL finds 4 members for the now. My god, RSG is playing this like textbook as compared to game number 2.
Yeah, and the fact that EVOS, you know, they're going for a little bit of a greedy draft here. You know, you need time on this Esmeralda to start building into the tank build. You need time on this Ling. And RSG, they know that. They know they're on the timer. They're not going to give this, you know, space and time for the Ling to farm. The blue purple buff is going to get stolen. I think they did manage to get the red buff, which is kind of like a consolation. But no purple buff means that Ling is not going to be very impactful in the next fight. RSG, they're going to take this total uncontested.
Yeah, they are at the driver's seat right now. EVOS, Ling is fighting with a single hand, jumping around without much energy. There's no way that this potato will be able to do any form of damage, especially with LI4. LI4 doesn't require all this buff. You can see Adamir doing what a Uranus might be able to do, just cutting the waves at the side, and RSG will do the same for the bottom side. Just take a look at the amount, the speed of taking down objectives. RSG, they're not looking for fights, they're looking for turrets.
Bloodlust X getting picked up by Baby Cakes as well, so that's going to be a little bit more sustainability going for the Benedetta. JPL in a bit of a bad spot, and Matilda is pretty much dead unless that Link can come to help, but Potato wants no piece of it. He's going to focus on pushing the top side. The execute comes in. A bit of an overkill in my opinion.
Yep, Adamir, I don't know. Okay, Implosion managed to catch you alongside with the I am offended as well, but here comes Potato coming in. Will be able to take down LI4, but LI4 looking very low, but he's still taking over the take top. But the Nimero Passion will be able to pick him up, and it's just almost a team wipe over the EVOS. Only Sailor left. There is no chance to defend from this onslaught that RSG is putting out.
The front to back approach once again coming for RSG. You have the Ruby at the front, hooking the backline if they get a little bit too close. So what am I talking about? There is no backline to begin with for EVOS. Every single one of them is a mini character if you think about it. Right here on the Yutong, Adamir on that Esmeralda, Potato on that Link, they are all mini heroes and they don't have someone that can provide that consistent physical damage other than the Link, and the fact that Potato is underfarmed means they're lacking that physical damage, and now RSG can just look to constantly go in for the fight. They don't have to worry too much because they have this front line that I'm talking about. That Ruby, they have the trigger, the wombo combo is there, and you know that just means that 505 and LY4, look at that, both of them completely untouched.
Yeah, it's a very tough call coming out from EVOS right there. Unable, but okay, this could be a consolation prize. Not only they pick up the turret for now, but Baby Cakes, Electro will be used. Baby Cakes forced to, Lake Potato will forced to run away.
And now RSG, they might even find Potato here, forced to use Templars of Flakes, but there's no way out. They take down the lane. This is going to be a free lord, and it's just tough to see how EVOS can get back into the game unless RSG decides to throw the game again like how they did in game 2.
Yeah, but that's because, you know, Potato is on a Roger, right? There's a lot more comeback mechanics in my opinion if you're using a Roger, but for a Link, if you're not doing well, you're doing very bad. But here it goes as LY4 lanes down the herd. Adamir melts from all the balls that RSG is throwing at them. All the tough questions over to the side of EVOS. You cannot touch me. You cannot touch the back line. I have a strong front line. You come in, you get constantly CC.
Now look at LY4, he's having the time of his life. He's smiling, he's chilling, he's relaxed. And why shouldn't he? He's 6-0-6 at this point. He even got the Wind of Nature, which means if Link decides to go into the Temples of Flame, those precious seconds that Wind of Nature grants you, it's just going to be super tough to take down this Nathan.
Yeah, the Lord is marching down, ladies and gentlemen. Gear has to do something right now as, ladies and gentlemen, the core is taking some further damage, but it is going to be red light going all the way down. Potato coming in, but the Lord will be secured with the Retribution for the time being. EVOS, hold on for the time being, but how long can they hold? 5-on-5 is down. They need to make this out as the Stemmer Blade will be going down, ladies and gentlemen. The boy is getting super low, and RNG will be able to take this series.
Clean game 3 at RSG.